My name is Sydney Songer. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner and the gemstone education specialist with Gemisphere, and today I want to talk to you about quartz. The entire mission of quartz is all about attracting life force, or what we sometimes refer to as vital force, into our field and into our body to help create and maintain a greater sense of balance between the physical body, the mind, the emotions, and all of the subtle energy body fields that surround us. Now, this balance of life force affects every aspect of our being, and so working with quartz has the potential to make improvements throughout every aspect of our life. It also works to help correct color ray imbalances throughout the field and has the ability to amplify the effects of other gemstones that it's used alongside. We'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Now, it also has a really interesting ability to help us integrate learning from our past experiences so that we can make healthier decisions moving forward. Also, if there's ever been, a life-altering event or some kind of traumatic experience that you've had that has left you feeling kind of off kilter, thrown off balance on the other side, where you're trying to find your new normal, get your feet back underneath you, quartz can be a wonderful tool to work with to kind of bring that balance back into play and bolster your system to strengthen it and give you more energy to work with as you are moving forward into the future and kind of navigating those changes that you've gone through. So first I want to talk about how quartz can affect the physical body and the physical processes. By physical processes, I'm referring to things like different organ systems, endocrine, digestive, nervous system, circulatory system, things of this nature. Vital force affects every aspect of our physicality, and it's the energy upon which all of these natural physical processes run. And so when there's a depletion of life force, that's where we start to see a reoccurrence of illness or injury or weakness. And so having more life force brought into those areas is really vital to restoring balance and creating greater strength and the capacity for healing in those areas. Now, I want to mention that quartz itself is not going to heal you. That is not the goal of quartz. The goal of quartz is to bring in this vital force and restore balance to the body so that its natural healing processes can kick in and start to correct things that have occurred, whether that's illness or injury. It can also help when we have that balance and that vital force on board, create a greater amount of resilience throughout our body. So that we are less prone to illness or injury. Now, I mentioned the color ray imbalances earlier, and where that comes into play with the physical body is that if you're familiar with the chakra systems and how each one is attributed to a different color ray, that affects every aspect of our physical body, and each color ray is associated with certain organs or bodily functions. Some organs and some functions have multiple color rays that are attributed to them. So if there's ever an excess of that energy or a deficiency in that energy, we'll start to see symptoms or a propensity for disease or injury or weakness occurring in those areas. And so quartz works by kind of just covering all the bases really and bringing all 7 color rays in and infusing the body with this energy so that the body can correct itself where these imbalances occur. Now, when we wear the necklace, it's going to infuse our entire physicality, but it's going to, or affect the entire physicality rather, but it's going to look for the areas that are weakest first. Where is there the least amount of vital force where it's needed? Where are the color ray imbalances most prominent? And it's going to draw energies and try and restore order in those areas first. And then it will work its way out from there, with the overall goal being restoring balance to the entire system. Now, when we work with it acutely on an area, what does that mean exactly? If we have an area of injury or weakness or illness that's occurring, say you have something going on with your stomach, you, instead of wearing it as a necklace, you can also use the necklace directly over the stomach to concentrate the energy there with a bit more of an intention focus of drawing life force and those color rays into that specific area to create balance and support the area so that it can begin to correct itself and subsequently, hopefully, begin to heal as well. So quartz doesn't just affect the physical body. It also has the ability to impact our emotions, our mind, and even our memories, or more specifically, the karmic aspects of things that we have experienced that reside in our memories. When quartz is drawing in this life force and creating more balance within the color ray system in our body, it establishes a sense of groundedness and balance in our emotional being that allows us to sort of integrate new experiences into our consciousness a little bit more easily. And when we're more emotionally balanced, we're able to take on new situations in life with a bit more dignity and ease. Because of this balancing act in the emotional body, sometimes it can feel as if it's protecting us from the negative emotions of other people. But in reality, what's actually happening is that because we are in this state of balance, it allows us to put these negative emotions or words or actions or whatever it is better into perspective and not allow someone else to so easily throw us off balance. The other aspect that you might notice with this is that you may feel that it's sort of attracting more positive emotional experiences. And the reason for this is because it's opening us up to not only experience more positive emotions, but to appreciate them more fully and to really enjoy them. And so it's sort of branching out our awareness to not take the negative stuff quite so seriously and really enjoy the positive that's there. And if you're familiar with the laws of manifestation and attraction, the more we pay attention to something that's good, the more we're going to draw in situations for us to feel good about and for us to appreciate. So that's the emotional aspect of it. This will also tie into the mind and into the memories as well. So quartz also helps us to achieve greater mental balance. It helps support balance within our mind. And it does this by either increasing or decreasing creative and analytical aspects of our mind and how we use them. So this is going to vary from person to person and from situation to situation. Sometimes we need to be more creative, sometimes we need to be more analytical, and sometimes it's a blend of both, and we just need our full mental capacity to be functioning to show up for whatever it is or however that transitions as we move along. I have found that quartz is really effective for people who have a balance of both in their work that they do, things like creative designers, graphic artists, engineers of various kinds, where it's that marriage of analytical and creative function that they kind of have to bounce between as they're doing their work. Sometimes it can be hard to feel like you're in a creative flow and then you need to change your attention to something a bit more technical. And so quartz works to help support balance and also the shifting of those two aspects of our mind to help us work with a bit more ease through both of those processes. So how does quartz affect the memories and the karmic ties to our experiences? I've already talked about the emotional and the mental balancing that can occur and how that can impact us, but it's important to note that usually when there's disease in the body, it's usually not just a physical root. There is usually a mental and emotional component to that. And our mind and our emotions react greatly to not only what we experience, but also the memories that we retain from our past experiences. And when we go through something, whether it's a traumatic event or just it could be something small, we don't always pull the lesson from the moment. We're busy analyzing it or having an emotional reaction to it. And so sometimes these things can start to impact us later on down the line. Those energies don't get integrated appropriately and they start to manifest as symptoms or disease. And so really addressing those things and bringing balance to the mind and our ability to integrate what we've experienced is really important in being able to move forward and allow our system to correct itself and make healthier decisions moving forward as well. Now, if you're familiar with the concept of karma, it's basically, it's a law of cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. Quartz helps us bring our awareness to the fact that, yes, our actions have consequences, and what do they mean? When we store these things in our memory, and don't process them, they're not really serving us and can, in fact, just sometimes be disruptive. And so, getting to a place where we can better understand what we have gone through, what our participation was, pulling the knowledge and the learning from that moment and learning to integrate it so that we can make different decisions and emotionally process and think about them differently, can have huge impacts on not only how we feel mentally and emotionally, but also how we feel physically. And so it's a really important aspect of quartz that I really appreciate. It's also able to allow us to take on new situations in life a bit more gracefully, which I've mentioned before, but this kind of dives a little bit deeper into the why. When we understand where we've been and things that have happened in the past, it allows us to move forward with much more clarity and to process faster new things that happen in life as they come up. So quartz not only has the ability to affect our physical and our subtle energy bodies, including the emotions and the mind, but it also has the ability to basically just affect everything in our life, everything that our vital force is a part of, which is a lot of things. It has the ability to sort of deflect forces or energies that can affect our balance, throw us off balance. And it also has the ability to attract energies and forces that help support and maintain our sense of balance. Now, as it's working, it's drawing energy in from our aura or our biofield, the world around us, and it's sort of metabolizing this available life force and making it more digestible or usable to our system for growth and development. When our energy bodies are imbalanced, it creates a really stable foundation also for spiritual growth. I also mentioned earlier, we've talked about how it can help with color ray imbalances, but I also want to mention that it can help to amplify working with other color ray gemstones. This includes things like ruby, carnelian, citrine, emerald, blue sapphire, indigo, and amethyst. Because quartz is able to draw in all of the 7 color rays, it's able to really support and bolster the effects of these gemstones as well, and increase the effects of what you're doing when you're working with them. It does tend to also have a bit of an amplifying effect with any of the other gemstones that you might be working with. That is why you might find it included in a lot of the combination necklaces that Gemisphere carries. We use it to help take the frequency of these primary color ray gemstones and amplify it so that you can get sort of a bigger dose of this frequency with a smaller amount of that primary gemstone. So it's something to keep in mind. If you're working with something and you feel like you're not getting enough energy from it, it's not quite strong enough, pairing it with quartz can be a wonderful way to kind of amplify that effect and get a more all-encompassing experience from that gemstone that you're working with. So some other important notes about working with quartz is that to achieve the most therapeutic aspects of working with quartz, you need to make sure that you're working with optical quality or near optical quality quartz stones. And that basically means that there are limited numbers of cracks or inclusions or flaws within the gemstone which can distort the energy. Because it has the ability to have more of this amplifying effect, it's really important that you're working with a super high quality so that the energy that you're getting is balanced and clear. It's sort of like when there are inclusions in a gemstone, it's like looking into a shattered mirror where you're getting this very distorted image. But because we're dealing with our energy and our bodies and our minds and our subtle energy bodies, we really don't want to do anything that's going to be disruptive or potentially even harmful to that. So make sure that you're only working with optical or near optical quality quartz. You may notice also that the necklaces that we have appear to be a bit more what we refer to as frosted. The reason for this is when we have an optical quartz sphere and a hole is drilled through it to put the string through, it can disrupt the flow of energy that's going through it, just like those flaws that I mentioned. And so we have found that creating this sort of frosted, polished effect over top of it helps to regain balance in the distribution of energy. So you really only want to wear frosted quartz to make sure that it's going to be safe and harmonious with your system. You also want to make sure that you don't wear quartz with any kind of metal class, because again, because it has that amplifying effect, it will tend to amplify the frequency of that metal, and that's usually not something that you necessarily want to do. It can be very disruptive or disharmonious with your system, so that's something to keep in mind as well. So I've only covered some of the bases of quartz. There are ultimately so many more things that it can do, and this is a very short video to cover everything, but we've talked about how it can support the physical body and its processes, how we can help aid in rebalancing our system to support our natural healing processes, whether it's in regards to disease or illness. We've talked about how it can support bringing balance into our emotional body and creating more emotional resilience, as well as helping the mind function in an analytical and creative way more effectively. And then on top of that, how to integrate experiences from our memories and move forward with greater clarity and balance. We've also discussed how to use it with other gemstones. And so if you're new to gemstone energy medicine, you haven't worked with gemstones before, I highly recommend giving quartz a try, because it's one of our more foundational gemstones for a reason. It has the ability to impact us on such sort of a global level. And so it's a good place to start and have a gemstone experience, see what it can do for you. If you already have other gemstones, it's wonderful to add to the collection because of its supportive role in the way that it creates the balance and amplifying effect of other gemstones that you're working with. So if you have any additional questions after this video, please feel free to reach out to us. You can also schedule a private consultation with me. And thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more, please feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and we will have additional educational videos rolling out as we move forward. Thank you so much.